Hello class, welcome back to the second activity in lesson 14. All right, this is on music devices. You all were given a problem card and then your partner has a data card. All right, so we're going to go through the solutions to these here. All right, so let's first start with problem card 1 and data card 1. All right, so a store sells three different music devices: device A, device B, and device C. Okay, which of the devices can Jada afford? Well, let's look over here at our information, our data. Device A costs $15, device B costs $25, device C costs $40. Okay, well, how would we know if she can afford any of these? We don't know how much money she has, right? But we have one more clue. It says Jada has 60% of the money needed to buy device C. Oh, well, how many dollars is that? Does that mean she has $60? Well, no, definitely not. It does not mean that at all. It's 60% of the money needed to buy device C. Well, how much does device C cost? Device C costs $40. So what that means is that she has 60% of 40. And we have to figure out what that is. What is 60% of 40? Okay, well, one way we can solve the problem is to set up a table. Right? Or excuse me, a double number line. We can also set up a table as well. But for this one here, I'm going to go over how we can use a double number line to make this work. So let me go ahead and add in a couple of lines really quickly here. And let's think about the two values that we are comparing here. We are looking at money and percents. Okay, so I need to go ahead and come in here and label each of these lines accordingly. So we'll have money for one of them, and then percents for the other one. And it doesn't matter which one you put make money or which one you make percents. It's just important to keep all of the data that is related to money on the money line and all the data related to percents on the percent line. Okay, so let's see here what we're doing. She has 60% of 40. So on the number line here, we can go ahead and we can put I'll put a tick mark in, and we can say that she has 60%. So we'll put a 60 there. That's what she's got. Okay, I'm gonna make this one notch smaller. All right. Now, does that mean that 60 and 40 match up? It does not. We, at the moment, don't know what 60% of 40 is. So we can put a little tick mark here, but we don't know what goes there just yet. Okay, but there is one other thing that we do know. Right, we know that it's 60% of 40. So that means 40 is the whole cost of device C. It's the whole thing. So that would then be talking about 100%. So we can go over here and we can add in 100%. And 100%, the whole thing, that needs to be aligned with $40, right? Because $40 is the whole thing. So I'm going to add in that right here, 40. Okay, so 100%, that's $40. Those match up. 60%, we don't know what goes here, right? So we need to be able to make a jump from 100 back to 60. Okay, so if we divide, there isn't a whole number we can divide by. You're going to have to involve a decimal or a fraction in this, and so that could be a little bit tricky. And so we want to see if we can use something that we can do in our head a little bit easier. So like we played in the game of Frogger, let's see if we can jump a little bit further back to a number that we can then spring up to 60 from. So if we jump back, there's a couple different options. You can definitely do a couple of different things here. We can definitely go back to 10% if you wanted to do that, or we can go back to 20%. Okay, let's say we're going to go back to 10%. All right, just for the heck of it here. We're going to do 10%, and let's see what that matches up with in dollars. Okay, so think, how are we going to make a jump from 100 to 10? Change this into green. So from 100 to 10, you're going to divide by 10. All right, so for this next value up here on the money number line, we have to make the same jump. We have to jump from 40 to here, and we have to do the same thing. We have to divide by 10. So 40 divided by 10, this should be easy by now, right? You can think of it like you're moving the decimal point in one spot to the left. 40 divided by 10 is going to be 4. There we have it. Okay, so 40 divided by 10 is 4. So what we need to do then is we need to go ahead and make another jump back from 10 to 60. So to get from 10 to 60, you're going to multiply times 6, right? So we need to do the same thing here. We need to do the same thing. We need to do times 6. It's 4 times 6, and 4 times 6, that's 24. Okay, so 24 is what the amount of money that Jada has. Okay, so if to answer this first question, which one of the devices can she afford? If she has $24, can she afford A? Yes, she can afford A. So A, put a big A here. Can she afford B? Well, B costs 25. Uh-oh. No, she's a little bit short. Unless somebody can give her $1, she is not going to be able to buy device B. And we already knew that because she has 60% of the money needed to buy device C, she can't actually afford device C. So it's just A that she can afford. So what percentage of the money needed for device B does she have? Well, if she has 24, then what we're talking about here is, I'm going to delete this part here for question 2. She has 24 out of 25. Okay? Well, okay, because she needs $25, right? And she has 24. So she has 24 out of 25. But what do we know about percentages? We know that if we can get it out of 100, that is going to tell us what the percentage is, because the percentages are out of 100, right? So think about how can we make a little jump here from 25 to 100. We can multiply that times 4, right? It's like a quarter, 4 quarters. So we would do the same thing to get what's going to go in this blank here. We're going to do times 4 there as well. And if you work this out, 24 times 4, that is 96, right? She has 96%. So we can answer that here. We can say that she has 96%. Okay, so that's for the first data card and problem card. For the second problem card and data card, let's go through this. The store starts selling another music device. Jada is interested in device D, though she does not have enough money to buy it. How much does device D cost? Well, so if you remember from before, she has $24, okay, and she has 40% of the money needed to buy device D. So in this case here, okay, if you already looked at problem card 1, you have an idea about how this is going to work. But if not, if all we have is just this information here, then we would need to go back and find out how much device D costs. So for device D, we can make a double number line. And let's take a look and see how that's going to play out here. So we know then that we have, for our two values, we have money and we have percent. So let's go ahead and add that in right here. Let's say that we have money and percent for our two number lines. All right, so with that established, if she has $24, we can put $24 on the number line. We know that much. We know she has 24. And in this case here, we know that that actually is 40% of the money needed device D. Okay, so these two align. So we need to go ahead and say 24 and 40 align here. $24 is 40%, right? So those match up. Okay, so we needed to know what device D costs. So in this case, what would that be referring to? And as far as percents go, it's the total cost. Okay, so the total cost is going to be the same thing as wondering what 100% is. So we need to add on to our percent line a mark for 100, because that's what we're trying to figure out here. What is 100% of the cost of device D? What's the whole thing cost? Okay, so we've got to make a jump from 40 to 100. Okay, but there isn't a whole number we can multiply times to get from 40 to 100, so it may be tricky. So again, we can play Frogger a little bit here, and we can come up with another value to hop back to, and then see if we can spring forward. So just with the last one, remember we chose we could have 10 or 20, either one would be fine. We can use those percentages here. But just for the heck of it, for this one here, we're gonna use 20%. All right. If you choose 10, that's fine. But I'm gonna choose 20% for this part here because it's still pretty easy, because I'm still, to go from 40 to 20, I'm just going to be cutting it in half. I'm just going to be dividing it by 2, right? So for this next value, I'm going to do the same thing with the with 24, right? I have to go ahead and take this and cut it in half. So if I cut 24 in half, what's half of 24? It is 12. All right. So we know then that 20% of the cost of device D is $12. We then need to go ahead and make that jump and get back from 20 all the way up to 100. So to go from 20 to 100, it's times 5, right? So then to find the missing value here, make sure you have a missing value there, we need to do the same thing. We need to take this 12 and we need to do times 5, right? Because we did times 5 down here. So what is 12 times 5? 12 times 5 is 60. Okay, so based off of that, we could know that her device is $60. Okay, now of course, as it turns out, we have worked on some similar problems before. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense.